Paris, Tuesday 10th November 2009. Movement. I've been invited by a debating society called the Friends of the Paris School of Management for the 48th session of their seminar on creation, to share my experiences as an artist and craftsman. The time is set for 8:45 AM on the dot at one of the top engineering schools in France. I'm impressed by the venue and intimidated by the 25 people there. The only qualification I have is a school certificate I was awarded at 13, and I'll be speaking to men and women who went to the prestigious and highly competitive Grande Écoles. My conference revisits the major themes of a layman's guide to perfume. There is a screening of a short film about my experience of creating Un Jardin après la Mousson for Hermès. After the presentation, people ask lots of questions. I like questions about my profession. They mean I have to understand my own thought process in order to reply. And they take me to another level. One particular comment really struck me and still probes me long after the conversation. You've told us about how you structure your thoughts, about the form a perfume takes, about time and composing perfume, but you have said nothing about movement. I was not able to tackle the subject of movement. I had very little time left, and I had to admit that I didn't have a clear answer to the question. This diary is an opportunity to make up for that. Movement is defined by the form a perfume takes in its longevity. So a more baroque perfume is all about complexity, power and performance. Its complexity follows its evolution, enhancing each new phase. Perfumes like this are seen as elaborate, structured, rich, full and perhaps overbearing. Conversely, a cologne type structure favours simplicity, vigour and lightness of touch. Although not all colognes are simple, the rapid succession of notes within them make us think that they do not stay on the skin for long. This sort of easily accessible perfume requires a very particular attention because its discretion keeps such lovely surprises in store. This is the book I'm reading at the moment, or one of the books. It's called The Diary of a Nose, A Year in the Life of a Perfumer, and it's by Jean-Claude Eleanor. And it's really good. I just thought I'd read you one page of the book there. But I've only just started reading it, but it's very good, and I would suggest it if you're interested at all in perfume to read this one. It's really good. I wanted to go over a couple of books that I own, just as what I found helpful personally, and it might help others as well if you have an interest in creating perfume or just perfume in general. If you have an interest in creating your own perfumes from scratch yourself with just organic essential oils, not using synthetics, just naturals, then this is a good book to consider. It's by Mandy Aftel. It's just called Fragrance: The Secret Life of Scent. She just goes over very basic formulas using natural essential oils, and goes into a little bit of the history of perfume and different notes and things like that. And it's an interesting little read for like a beginner, because it just lays it out very simply. There's nothing complex there. It's very simple. She tells you exactly what to do in terms of how many drops to put in, how much to dilute it by. Very easy to follow if you're interested in creating very simple perfumes. If you're looking to get more into the complexities and science of it, there's a couple of books I'd recommend. So this one's called Perfumery, Practice and Principles by Robert R. Calkin, and this is hard to take in because it has a lot of chemistry in it, so if you're not into that, it might be a little bit hard to understand. It does go into a lot of detail. Goes into chemical formulas and all sorts in here, but it is useful, and you do pick up some interesting insight into the more in-depth world. One of the best books I've read so far is this one. It's called Scent and Chemistry: The Molecular World of Odors. This is again kind of like a chemistry book. There's lots of chemistry related formulas and diagrams, and it is quite complicated, but the good thing about this is it goes into detail about individual perfumes and tell you exactly what's in them, which oils they used and what percentage. And I found some interesting things in this, like it mentions Isoe Super being widely used in concentrations up to like 50%. Is actually quite common in a lot of perfumes. Incense Kyoto by Comme des Garçons has 51% Isoe Super in the formula. Terre de Hermès has 55% Isoe Super. So there's a lot of interesting information. It goes into the sort of main perfume groups and sort of recognises famous perfumes that are within those groups that use those notes. So like it'll mention violet leaf here on this page, and then it'll give you examples of perfume that have used that particular note and in what concentrations. So if you're looking more in depth, like how perfume works on a chemistry level, then this is the one to check out. What struck me in these books I'm reading is that they refer to the creation of perfume as art, and I think that's really cool, and I agree, it is a form of art. It's like a form of self-expression that not many people in the world really think about. You know, we look at music and art, and those kind of reflect our personalities. You know, the music that we listen to reflects the personality that we have, and also the mood that we're in currently. We tend to listen to music based on mood, and perfume's exactly the same. You know, what perfume you wear gives a hint of the personality that you have, and also, you know, the perfume that you chose to wear that particular day has an unconscious feeling of mood to it. You know, you pick a fragrance based on the current mood that you're in that morning when you spray it, and I think there's something about that that's quite special that not many people kind of get in the world. Most people go by not really thinking about perfume at all that way on a deep level, and you know, neither did I a couple of years ago. So I think it's quite special when you get into perfume and you realise the depth of it. Perfume is another form of self-expression. You know, what we choose to wear, what we choose to project on other people, that is a form of self-expression, what we choose to send out as a signal to other people, and that's quite powerful and often overlooked. I find it fascinating how far the obsession with perfume goes back in time. You can go 4,000 years back in the past to the ancient Egyptians, who used to make wax cones that they would wear, and it would melt slowly through the day, and those would contain things like frankincense, myrrh, honey, cinnamon. So you can imagine how they would smell, like resinous, rich, sweet and spicy. I think that's really cool, like how far back the obsession of scent goes. The ancient Romans, they used to scent the wings of doves with rose oil and rose water, and then they would let them loose in the great halls. They would flap the wings, and when the doves were flying around the room, beating their wings, it would scent the air with rose. So perfume has been very, very powerful for a long period of time. It's interesting as well to think of the development of perfume, like how far it's come and what direction it's going in. And it's kind of sad and exciting at the same time, because it's sad in the respect that it's getting more and more artificial, and we're relying more and more heavily on synthetics, and trends and fashion follow perfume, and I think that has an effect on the artistry side of perfume. I think it kind of starts to lose the meaning behind it and the art behind it. I think that gets diluted when we talk about that, like big designer companies creating trends, and but it's all heavily synthetic, and it kind of loses the meaning behind why you create a fragrance because of an idea and creating something you love, like a musician would create a song. That gets lost and just disappears a little bit, because instead it's a marketing company designing a mood board and a concept idea of what will sell a lot and earn them a lot of money. And then that's handed to a perfumer, and they say, okay, make this. That's not what the perfumer wants to make, that's not what they're passionate about, they're just fulfilling an order to pay the rent. And so I think the art gets lost there. So I do have a lot more respect for smaller companies that are run by the perfumer, like Andy Tower for instance, who creates his own perfumes, does all his own marketing, everything himself. The passion is there, and the quality is there, and the art is there as well, and you can tell that, whereas the big companies lose the art side of perfume, which I think is a shame. Hope you enjoyed the little video, and I'll see you again next time, guys.